billion for
Ken
his.
Rosenthal was the one who broke the Carlos Rodon news and the fact the Yankees went 162 million over 6 years. But that's the fourth contract that was at least that Scott Boras has been at the helm of the negotiating table to score those deals, right? We're well aware of where Brandon Nemo wound up and the fact that he got his mega deal 6 years, also 162 million. Carlos Correa, buddy, I don't think any of us saw him getting 350 million. I don't think any of us saw him going 13 years, and the fact he managed to fandangle his way there. I was actually quite impressed with the way he handled last year's free agency, getting that 1-year deal with Minnesota, a bridge contract with an opt-out, lining him up to all of a sudden hit free agency again. And despite the fact that it being with stud shortstops like Xander and Trey to still get his mega deal, especially after he went and fired his last agent last year and they had to do all this weird stuff to make sure his past agent didn't get paid. Remember where
Oh yeah, well I'm sure that was a factor in last year's deal with the Twins. There was just to make sure that Boris got the full commission on this 350 million. Um, I that's kind of exactly where I honestly expected Carlos Correa to get. I'm
really,
Yeah, like so young, so young. Uh, 27, 28 years old.
yeah.
Other than like the whole Astros scandal of it all, this is the face of a franchise type of a guy.
You know where I was at? I think I thought Trey Turner was going to be the top contract. So when he got 11 years, 300, I thought that
Oh,
Carlos would get
okay.
matched with it or even with Lindor and the fact that he beat it. But again, you saw these guys like Carlos Correa go till 40 years old when he signed. I mean, that was what they did with Turner. That's how they reacted with Judge, right? Signing these guys to 40. So if Correa's like, listen, lock up, I'm younger, lock me
That's
up
the
till I'm
thing, right?
40
He's
also.
two
Yeah.
years younger, so give me 2 more years at the same rate. It's a big number, but it's I guess honestly, I know you were measuring it off of what Trey Turner got. I was still measuring it in retrospect off of what Fernando Tatis Jr. got,
That's probably a more
right?
accurate.
So I was
Yeah.
going young guy, but he does have the resume so far, right? World
Hmm.
Series champ, great numbers, great defensively, all these things. And he's only 27. So that's kind of where I was like, well, I don't know what Fernando Tatis Jr. ended up getting. I can look that up quick, but
Yeah.
it was like 340 million over 14. So I kind of figured it would be around that
Somewhere
for
in
sure.
that realm. A
Plus
good
give it
guess.
a year of inflation and whatever. I just figured numbers are just going to go up anyways. But yeah, no, big payday for him. And again, this just makes me think Bo Bichette gonna get big money, man. 400 million maybe for Bo Bichette. Am I way off base with that?
I am really curious to see. I know there are some people who think that that is an absolute insane evaluation, but I don't know. The more you watch these other free agents land, the fact that he's 24, the fact that honestly, if Bo Bichette takes a step forward defensively and at age 25 plays average defense, I'm not even saying is put in that top realm of defensive shortstops. Just plays an average shortstop. Yeah, I think he's a $300 million guy personally. And especially if he shows a little bit of consistency at the plate this year. I know his numbers over 162 in 2022 were pretty darn good, but if he can do that without the huge valleys and the big mountain peaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the kid is going to get paid, which would mean free agency at 2026 for Bo Bichette, there might be nothing this front office can do but watch him walk.
I guess I'm just looking at the free agents coming up in the years before that right now. And I guess the one saving grace is that there isn't really 2 more years of elite shortstops who are going to continue to push the price up year over year. Like I'm looking next year is Javi Baez, Brandon Crawford. He's old.
Yeah,
Urshela, Isaiah Kiner Falefa.
no elite.
Nothing really is jumping out at me. 2025. Let's have a look at that year. We're looking at. I can never say this guy's name. Alade. Oh my God, Aldemus Diaz with Oakland.
Yeah,
I can never say it. Anyways,
yeah.
Hassan Kim
Aldemis.
with the Padres. Jorge Polanco.
Honestly, mid. All these mid guys,
Like
like
none of these guys are gonna get 300 million. Like I don't think any of these guys are
no.
gonna get $200 million, right? So it's by the time Bo Bichette gets there in 26, it's
Very
it's
interesting
just
point,
not going
Adam.
to continue to grow. I guess is my point.
Appreciate you looking that up because when you put it in perspective like that, my God, Dansby Swanson is going to get paid. Like,
Yeah.
dude, he is not a $200 million guy. I don't care. I know how good he is. He's so good defensively and also has a very potent bat, which is such a nice combination for that shortstop position. But man, like such a drop down in comparison to Dansby Swanson to Carlos Correa, but it's not going to matter. Like Dansby's
It's either
going to
you get
get
Dansby
his 200
Swanson or you miss out, and
or you
maybe
miss
you
out
find
for the
one by
next 3
trade.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And then here's the competition for Bo Bichette, and this it doesn't look good. Trevor Story is a free agent, but he's going to be 100 years old. David Fletcher, who? David Fletcher, that's who. Jorge Polanco is going to be 100 years old. Paul DeJong, 100 years old. Kevin Kramer with the Brewers, going to be
Yeah.
35. That's your options at free agents here, Scott, if you're looking to add a shortstop in 2026. Bo
Boy,
Bichette
the
is the
stars are
only one.
lining up for him, eh? Wow.
Bo Bichette is going to be a superstar who's 27 years old, and he's the only option. So if there is 4 or 5 teams that need a shortstop, like there is this year is a game of musical
Buddy,
chairs where 6 teams needed one of 4 shortstops, and everyone got a boatload of money.
this is
He's
so
literally
disheartening.
the only guy. I know. I didn't even realize how thin the shortstop class was.
We're researching as we do the
Oh,
show. Sorry, gang, but
yeah.
like
Isn't this great content here?
we're finding out as we go. Yeah. No, Bo
Anyways,
Bichette, man.
he's in for
Wow.
some real money. Yeah, it's stars are aligning for him. So enjoy your Bo Bichette jerseys for the next 3 years. We'll see.
Speaking of that, let's really quickly talk this before we end on what you're watching this weekend.
Yep.
You brought up before we hit record, you were feeling like Matt Chapman probably is going to walk in free agency. It doesn't look like, unless the Blue Jays can do something in the next, and they absolutely could. But unless the Blue Jays do something in the next few months, it's lining up like Chappie is set to hit free agency at 30 years old. Now, here's the thing. Adam, you were mentioning the third baseman free agents that are hitting the market next year. Rafael Devers and
Manny
Machado headline it. So if you were to compare it to this year, the Carlos Correa and Trey Turner of the shortstop market. But then there's nothing after that. Like it is Matt Chapman is the next tier. And we just
unless you
watched.
want to take a swing on a 37-year-old Josh Donaldson.
Exactly. Which,
That's it.
no, thank you. So a little disheartening there too, because the market for Matt Chapman is going to be big time.
It is. Yep. There's going to be more than 3
Brandon
teams that need a
Nimmo.
third base. So yeah, Brandon Nimmo got mega dollars.
And Brandon Nimmo is a really good example because Brandon Nimmo is a dude who last year's market would have been half of what it was this year.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, when you don't have quality options to choose from in that free agent class, the prices get out of hand. We're watching it firsthand here in 2023, like, or well, this off season, right, going into 2023.
Okay. Speaking of Matt Chapman, in a payday year, does he put up Marcus Simeon numbers for the Blue Jays this year?
Would sure be nice. It would suck for the Jays in that they'd watch him walk, but I mean, I would rather an amazing year, right?
What if Matt Chapman just takes an absolute Danny Jansen approach at the plate and is just like, I'm just going to pull the ball as hard as I can and see what happens, and hits 40 bombs?
He could do it, man. He could hit 40. I mean, he hit 37 in Oakland in 2018. I know he
Yeah.
hasn't really done that since, but he has the power.
I'll take 40. Like, if Chapman goes, I'll take 40 on his way out the door. If it comes
Yeah,
with a World Series
I'm
ring
with
or
you.
a deep
I'm
playoff
with
run.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do
all the
it.
best in Texas, Matt Chapman.
Yeah, right. Oh boy. All right, buddy. Let's wrap it up here. We'll do a what you're watching this weekend. This has been something that you folks have kind of mentioned wanted to hear. So this is something we're trying to integrate a little bit more into our Friday shows is what you're watching this weekend. So I'll start with not watching anything. I'm going to spend this last weekend in Mexico and soak it up.
Watching the
But
waves roll in off the ocean.
watching the waves roll in. But how about you,
All
buddy?
right,
What are you
that's
watching?
fair. For me, this is my last week with my daughter until after Christmas. She's at her mom's for Christmas, and then she's with us for the last week of December. So we'll be watching Christmas movies all weekend long.
Hmm.
So the classics, you got your Home Alone, just the original, not the other two or three or however many there is now. We'll be watching Elf, the Will Ferrell classic. Can't go wrong there. I'm not a big Grinch guy. Love the song.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a big Grinch movie guy, but my wife loves it, so I'm sure we'll be watching that. Um, the new one on my list that I'm looking forward to watching. Uh, David Harbour from Stranger Things,
Okay.
Hopper.
Yeah.
He is in a movie that I think just came out last week called Violent Night. And he's Santa.
Okay.
He is the real Santa Claus with all the magic powers, right? But he's in the middle of delivering toys to a house that is like being robbed, and he has to fight
Yeah.
off the bad guys.
Amazing.
So it is
Home
like,
Alone, but with Santa.
no, but it's like this family has like $100 million in their vault. So this is like a high crime heist movie mixed with magical Santa powers, and it's watch a trailer if you haven't seen it. It looks so bad and so good at the same time. So that's
I love the name,
that's the new one on
Violent
my
Night.
list. Oh, if you're starting your conversation with a pun like that, it's got to be a
Yeah.
good show.
Come on.
So Violent Night,
Exactly.
that's Santa fighting off criminals, hand to hand combat. It's bloody. It looks amazing. So I can't wait. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. That's what I'm watching this weekend.
Awesome. Well, look at us, buddy. It only took us 3 times, but we got this down eventually. So
We got there.
thank you to everyone who has followed along to this point. We're chasing, by the way, we're chasing 4,000 subscribers on our main channel. We're also chasing 1,000 subs on our clip channel. Just a real big, hearty thank you to everyone who has already hit the subscribe button. Pretty blown away by the community here within this walk-off. Walk-off pod we do. It's pretty impressive. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk-Off Podcast, Instagram, the Walk-Off Podcast. The link for the Discord is in the show notes. It's always free. It's always happening. All sorts of Blue Jays and baseball talk going on there. Thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate your patronage. We'll talk and see you soon. Cheers.